The other day I watched that Putin interview with Tucker Carlson, and I watched the whole 2.5 hours, whatever it was, and I found it very, very interesting for a number of reasons. But in particular, I found it very interesting to listen to him talk in the first 30 or 45 minutes of the interview. The man basically goes into the full history of the Rus people, Russia, the entire history from the onset of Novgorod all the way down to Kiev, the history of the invasions and the multiple different stages of the country and what belongs to them, what doesn't belong to them, all of that political stuff. I'm not going to go into all of that. But I found it very interesting for him, one of the most powerful people in the world, to be so well, aware of the history of the region and whatever. And, initially when I thought that to myself, I thought, of course, he's going to be aware of all of that stuff. He's been in power for 20 years. He's, had the upbringing to be a leader and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know how many people in power, in position like him around the world are actually aware of the roots of the country and all the troubles and whatnot. I say all of this to say that in order for you to understand what's happening today, you need to have perspective. And there's nothing like perspective. And the only way you can get it really is to look at history. So if you look at a conflict, if you look at a particular situation in any field in the present moment, you can, how do I say this? You can have an immature conclusion, viewing the current events of something when you don't have the background story. So if we are concerned about strength training and you start lifting weights in 2015, like me, 2015, I started kind of lifting weights properly, started watching Mark Rippetoe, started watching all this sort of stuff that's readily available at the surface level. You start to kind of learn about these things, and quickly you fall into the drum of lies, of deceit, and all troubles that plague the fitness industry, namely the drug use, the PED use. All of these things make the water very, very murky, and your expectations start to really fall short because you simply cannot progress like some other people that have reached fame through multiple different mediums in the fitness sphere. So then you kind of go, okay, so this is really disheartening, blah, 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 blah. But if you have the approach like somebody like Putin, who looks at the totality of the entire freaking existence of his people, and he goes, okay, this is the journey. So this conflict means this. Somebody else who doesn't understand the background will conclude something differently. And you can have discussions back and forth, and politics is very toxic, and there's lots of different things that we normal people don't understand. But if you're looking to understand and to maybe plant some expectations for your weightlifting journey, I think you will be doing yourself a big disservice without looking at the history of all humankind and training. So if you look at the era before the steroids, I don't know, like before World War I, even before, in the 1800s, you will see that people trained. They call them the Bronze Era or something like this. Then there's the Silver Era, and then obviously the Golden Era with the kings of drugs. Or not the kings of drugs, but that's when drug use started becoming more prevalent. And then obviously the mass monsters of the 90s, if you're going further and further off what's real and further into just fantasy story type stuff, right? So if you are like me and you want to get strong without all the other crap that's associated with it, the drug use and risking your health for freaking another inch on the biceps, you need to look at really, really far back into history and to understand what the hell is going on. What is a normal human being who trains all the time, who dedicates his life, all the free time that he has into training? What do they look like? And if you look at some of the earliest guys to ever do it, you will see that a lot of these people basically look like me, and I'm nothing special, but in the realm of me. Nobody has quads like Tom Platz. Nobody has lats like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nobody has developed traps as God knows some of these man monsters that are walking the earth right now. No. So if you stop consuming that crap and you start consuming the stuff from back in the day before the drugs became really, really the fad, what's your testosterone level, mate? Let's do some blood work and let's triple that and see what the size is. Before all of that kind of crap comes in, look at the people, back in the day. And to me, that will allow you to conclude with more accuracy what the expectations actually are. Because right now, if you look at social media, every other guy is jacked out of his skull. And every other guy will say they've got above average genetics. Excuse me, sir, I wasn't aware that the genes were so polluted back in the 1800s. Nobody had good genetics, nobody, right? Because none of those guys look anywhere near the guys that we are observing right now today in social media. All these guys on social media are fake natties, vast majority of them, and they all say, oh, it's my advanced genetics. Well, is it fair to say that there was no advanced master genetics back in the 1800s? Something's amiss there. Something's amiss. And this is the power of looking into history and looking at what is the actual evolution of this area of knowledge. What is going on? And a lot of people don't care about that, just like a lot of people don't care about the history of politics and geography and from Genghis Khan to the Rus to the Han to the Alexander the Great, all of this sort of stuff. People don't care. People just look at, no. The only thing that's relevant is the stuff that's happened in the last 10 years. Everything else is wrong. And this is what mass media at large, and also particularly this is what the fitness influencers will have you believe. You need to train like this because this is the only way. Really? Really now? What did the guys do back in the day before the drugs happened? Okay. Compare and contrast and see what really is going on. Because, for me, I am a natural skeptic. And as I age and as I go through my life, I see more and more crap. And, when I was 20, I was less skeptical. In fact, I'm half embarrassed to say that I remember a time where I thought WWF, before it became WWE, a lot of these guys were naturals. It was real fighting. It was all great because I didn't know anything about anything, right? I was 15, 16, I was like, oh my God, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's unbelievable. Look how strong they are. Really cool. And then as you kind of go, okay, so that's fake fighting. That's fake athletes, all on drugs. So then you see the NBA, okay, the NBA is all clean. Yeah, it's all clean. And then after you reach 25 to 30 in my case, you realize that, oh, wait a minute, Jordan was also on drugs. There's really good evidence for that. Oh, LeBron is also 40 years old jumping over 20-year-olds. Has this done before? No, he's just a freak. He's just a genetic marvel. There goes that excuse again. He's just a genetic marvel. Or is it? Genetic marvels only appeared in 1984 when LeBron was born. Okay. Interesting stuff. I'm not telling you what to conclude. All I'm saying is broaden your perspective, broaden your reading, broaden your content consumption, and you might be surprised to see what's actually lurking in the darkness of these lies. Because the 21st century is a poison. Is a poison in many, many respects because a lot of us are tuned into our phones and we consume content which is readily available. And then what's readily available is often far, far from the truth. Far what's actually going on. We are all one people. We're all just humans, right? But there is few people in this world who weave these lies that pollute the people. Propaganda is very, very powerful. This is what makes money. I am a natural master of genetics. This is why I have 24-inch arms in natural. I call bullshit. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.